Have you ever heard of a criminal who attacked people without ever being seen? A phantom who used an invisible gas to paralyze his victims, leaving behind only fear and confusion. This isn't a scene from a horror movie. It's one of America's strangest true stories, buried deep in history, the case of the Mad Gasser of Mattoon. It was the summer of 1944. World War II was raging overseas, but in the quiet, unassuming town of Mattoon, Illinois, a new and different kind of terror was about to unfold. It all started subtly. Residents began reporting a peculiar, sweet, and sickeningly cloying odor seeping into their homes in the dead of night. At first, no one thought much of it. Maybe it was just a leaky gas stove, bad plumbing, or some industrial smell carried on the wind. But then the reports got more specific and far more sinister. Within minutes of smelling the strange gas, victims felt a wave of dizziness wash over them. Their limbs would go numb, their bodies felt heavy, and a terrifying paralysis set in, leaving them helpless and unable to move. They were conscious, but trapped in their own bodies. When the first few cases were reported, authorities dismissed them as isolated incidents, perhaps food poisoning or anxiety. But soon, a chilling pattern emerged, and this bizarre story began to morph into one of the world's great unexplained mysteries. The Phantom had a method, and the town of Mattoon was his unwilling laboratory. The turning point came on the night of August 31st, 1944. A woman named Elaine Kearney was in her bedroom when she smelled that now infamous sweet gas wafting through her open window. Moments later, a terrifying sensation crept up her legs. She was paralyzed from the waist down, unable to scream, unable to run. Her husband, hearing a faint noise, rushed outside just in time to see a tall, shadowy figure dressed in dark clothing sprinting away into the night. He gave chase, but the Phantom vanished as quickly as he had appeared. After the Kearney attack, the town descended into chaos. The local newspaper dubbed the attacker the Mad Gasser, a name that struck fear into the hearts of everyone in Mattoon. Suddenly, the police were inundated with calls. Over the next 2 weeks, more than 30 reports flooded the station. Witnesses described a mysterious man dressed in black, lurking in shadows, hiding in alleys, and armed with some sort of spray gun that emitted a strange, vaporous mist. He was a ghost, a specter haunting their streets. Panic gripped the community. People started boarding up their windows, even in the sweltering summer heat. Neighbors formed armed patrols, roaming the streets at night, desperate to catch the Phantom tormenting their town. But despite their efforts, the gasser remained elusive. No fingerprints were ever found. No chemical residue was ever collected from the attack sites. No one was ever caught. The case baffled even the most experienced investigators and scientists of the time, leaving them with nothing but questions and a town paralyzed by fear. This is where the story takes a truly weird turn, pitting hard science against the undeniable power of the human mind. Investigators at the time scrambled for an explanation. Their best theory was that the gasser was using some kind of ether or chloroform-based compound. These chemicals, when aerosolized and inhaled, could indeed cause temporary paralysis and dizziness. It seemed like a plausible explanation, but when top chemists analyzed the reported symptoms, the nausea, the swelling of the mouth and throat, the specific type of paralysis, they argued that the effects didn't perfectly match any known chemical agent, especially not one that could be deployed so effectively through an open window and dissipate without a trace. This is where psychology enters the picture. Experts on brain function know that intense fear and widespread panic can trigger very real, physical, psychosomatic effects. In other words, your body can physically react to what your mind strongly believes is happening, even if it's not. This phenomenon is known as mass hysteria. So, was the Mad Gasser a real physical attacker stalking the streets with a chemical weapon? Or was this a powerful, contagious case of mass hysteria, a shared delusion fueled by the underlying anxieties of wartime? It's an unbelievable possibility that continues to puzzle historians and scientists to this day. The mystery only deepens from there. As the days wore on, the reports became more frequent and, frankly, more bizarre. Families swore they saw a man armed with a flit gun, a common insect sprayer, prowling outside their homes. Others described seeing strange, glowing lights accompanying the attacks. One woman even claimed she chased the figure, only to faint from the fumes he sprayed in her direction. It seemed the gasser was everywhere at once, but every time the police rushed to a scene, they found nothing. No footprints in the soft dirt beneath the windows. No discarded canisters. No chemical samples they could analyze. Absolutely no physical evidence that an attacker had ever been there. Frustrated and overwhelmed, the police chief eventually announced he believed the incidents were a product of public imagination and wartime nerves. Psychologists began to formally label the events as the Mattoon mass hysteria, but the locals who experienced it were adamant. They swore it was real. Some even whispered that the authorities were deliberately covering up the truth to prevent a nationwide panic during a time of war. These dark theories suggest the police actively tried to silence witnesses, dismissing their terrifying experiences as mere fantasy. Yet, the odd facts kept piling up. How could witnesses from different parts of town, who didn't know each other, all describe the same tall, thin figure? The same sweet smell, the same frightening symptoms of paralysis. Could an entire town truly hallucinate the exact same attacker together? Even after World War II ended and a sense of normalcy returned to the world, the strange but true story of the Mad Gasser never really went away. It cemented itself as one of the most bizarre and unsettling chapters in American folklore. For decades, psychologists, chemists, sociologists, and historians have debated what truly happened in Mattoon during that terrifying summer. It remains one of history's most compelling unsolved mysteries. Was he alone? Rogue scientist testing some new, experimental chemical warfare agent on an unsuspecting populace? Was he just a twisted local prankster who got a sick thrill from exploiting the town's wartime anxieties? Or was it something more sinister, something that defies our conventional understanding of science and psychology? The fact that we still can't definitively answer these questions, even with all our modern knowledge, is what makes this story so strange and so enduring. It's a chilling reminder that sometimes the universe we live in presents puzzles that logic and science simply cannot solve. So, what is the shocking truth behind the Mad Gasser of Mattoon? The honest answer is, we don't know. He remains a phantom. No one was ever arrested. No gas was ever identified, and yet dozens of ordinary people swore on their lives they were attacked. Whether it was a real person, a collective delusion, or something in between, this incredible story proves one thing beyond a doubt: fear itself is one of the most powerful and dangerous weapons in existence. It can turn a peaceful town into a hotbed of paranoia and make phantoms feel horrifyingly real. So the next time you hear an unfamiliar sound outside your window in the middle of the night, remember the people of Mattoon. Some creepy facts and rare histories are far more real than you might think. Because in this weird and wonderful universe, not everything has a neat and tidy explanation. And that is the most shocking truth of all. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed diving into true weird stories and bizarre moments from history, make sure to like this video, leave a comment with your theory, and subscribe for more unexplained mysteries. We'll see you next time.